Alright guys, alright, so our first video we're going to talk about being in our long distance relationship and
Yes. So a little bit about that.
yeah, how you can make it work. We're going to name 7 things to help your long distance relationship.
Well, so we met in Ghana, and then I lived in New York, and
I live in LA.
and he lived in LA. And so when we moved back, we knew that we were going to be in a long distance relationship. And these are going to be some of the tips that are the things that we used.
We kind of stick to just to make sure that it was healthy.
It was
and
working.
We're always happy.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah. So
Number one
is honesty. I believe that it is the biggest and most important tip to maintain a long distance relationship.
honesty is the best policy.
I like that. Also because it is an investment. Long distance relationship is pure investment. You invest in your time, you invest in your energy, you invest in everything. And so being honest with yourself and knowing that this is one thing you want to do and pursue with this person,
Right.
and hoping that the other person also honest about it. If you dated other people, I think it's very important that you let the other person also know, just so you're all on the same page and there aren't any surprises.
You don't have to go into details about who you dated in your past.
Yeah, we don't want names.
But be honest with what you're bringing to the table.
Exactly.
So someone can decide if they want to be in it or not be in it, especially if it's long distance.
3,000 miles wasn't fun.
LA to New York.
Yeah.
Lots of trips.
Number 2.
Number 2, constant communication. So I believe that you have to constantly be communicating with the other person just to kind of keep it interesting, keep it spicy. You don't want to have anything be stale, especially being long distance.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would speak for myself. I am not great at communicating. And initially that was a big thing when we started dating. And even my friends and family would tell you this. I don't text back. I mean, it takes forever. I would rather call you. And so honestly, being in a relationship with him in the beginning was a bit hard on me because he is great at communicating and I would take forever to text back or respond. And it's not because I wasn't interested, it was because I wasn't good at it. And I had to learn to do that.
Right.
Because I was honest about it. I let him know from the beginning I suck at communication.
And that comes to the first thing, like I said, honesty. I'm good at communicating with someone that I'm deeply, deeply in love with. And I knew I was in love with her from the moment I met her. Communicate with my clients, maybe a little different, but communication relationship, 100%. Number 3, planned activity.
Oh, sorry to cut you off. With the communication, but there are means of communication we have to talk about.
Different means of communication.
Right, because we live in a world of technology and there's so many ways to communicate. I mean, you can still write letters, but
you can Skype.
There's Skyping, the text that we talk about, FaceTime and
WhatsApp.
Zoom. Just use a particular do it, you know? And I think FaceTime was really great too,
Right.
you know?
Well, not FaceTime because I don't have iPhone.
Well, but it's the video chat.
Right, Skype chat. Right?
Or
Exactly.
WhatsApp has a Skype
Exactly.
chat.
Especially if you're international, WhatsApp is where it's at. Alright, so plenty of means, no excuses, be honest, communication. So number 3, plan activities in person. So when I would travel to New York or she would travel to LA, I want to make sure I have an itinerary. That's just how I am. Doesn't have to be a very into an itinerary, but you have to plan things so nothing is stale.
Yeah.
You're only there for a short period of time.
Yeah, like a weekend.
Exactly, and you want to make sure you're making the best out of it.
Right.
So you want to have things and activities to do in person just to kind of live it up while you're there.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree with that. And I was honest with the fact that I was really good at planning itineraries.
So what plan? And you know your relationship. You see this?
You know your role.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thank you for that.
Yes.
Because it was always exciting. I was in med school. Well, I wasn't in med school when we initially met. I was finishing college and all of that.
Right.
But even now in med school, when we're still long distance, I know I only have a weekend to see him, and so having him plan all of these things that we've been wanting to do for a month because we've not seen each other, and come in there and knowing that, oh my God, we have all of
something
these
to
things
look forward to, right?
It was
very
always
satisfying.
exciting.
The trip was always satisfying. As she was leaving, it was like, okay, we didn't want to leave. You never want to visit someone in a long distance relationship. You're like, man, when can I have time to go?
It's about time.
Exactly.
That would not be cool.
All right, so be honest, constant communication, plan trips or activities in person. Number 4 is going to be date night.
Yes. So one thing I will take this. One thing I instilled in our relationship was to continue to keep date nights. I know like when you live in the same space with someone, sticking to date nights are always great. Like it's easy. But in long distance, it's very difficult. And so for us, we've always made Friday nights our date nights. So even as we were like in different states, we still have Friday nights set aside for date nights. And that would be literally like probably as watching the same movie like over Skype, or as like eating dinner
right.
over Skype. We'll cook dinner and
together.
then those are really fun.
Exactly.
We used to play games like the word games,
true.
on Skype, and just setting aside like those few 2 or 3 hours just the two of us,
yeah.
like no distraction, just us pretending to be in person. Like
Right.
I cherish those moments a lot.
A lot. I do too. I cherish those moments a lot. No, I loved it.
Do you?
Yes, I do. You listen to music.
Oh yeah, we used
same
to do.
music
We used to listen to the
together,
same music
yeah,
together.
dance,
We pretend to dance.
Over Skype. So it's just one thing that you kind of, again, keep it spicy.
Yeah.
Be honest, constant communication, plan activities in person, and date night. So number 5, and she'll take over this one. This is surprise each other.
Yeah, surprise each other. So this is, I think that's my language of love, really. And knowing that, I think one that also helped is the fact that we knew what each other wanted,
Right.
So I loved surprises. And so I made him know that I loved that. One thing I used to do whenever I visited him, and before leaving, I would put sticky notes all around his apartment, like random places.
And I just open drawers and I'm like, oh my God, and at first I was like, what is she doing all these notes everywhere? But then it'd be inspirational things like stay focused, like you're great, King, and you know what I mean? So it made me as a man feel like my woman had my back and she wanted me to do good, you know what I mean? So it's something that surprised me because I was not thinking, someone would do that, and that never happened to me before, so.
Yeah, I think that is what important tip to actually to use. I loved it. I love the fact that he would find these random notes around his apartment and call me, and he's like, oh, I was having a hard day today and it was really good that I saw that note, or it reminded me of you, or things like that.
Right.
Also surprises in terms of trips. So he would used to just show up in New York, and I mean, thank God I wasn't doing anything fishy.
Right, exactly.
And that comes back to honesty.
Being honest, right? Yeah, I would show up in New York and we're like, okay, look, we're going to do this. Let's go here. Which brings us to our number 6, which is travel together.
Yes. And that also comes back to language of love. He loves to travel, and I learned to love to travel too. And so one thing we'll do together is to travel. One thing I learned from that is we learned about new experiences together. We saw new places. We became embedded in new culture together.
Right.
It takes me a while to adjust to situations, especially if it's different cultures and whatever. But I loved that I learned to embrace that part of me and to be open to
Right,
it.
and this is the reason why I love traveling together. One, you learn a lot about your spouse or about your loved one when you're traveling, having to go from, and it doesn't have to be internationally, even though we've traveled internationally, to Germany, to Sicily, to Mexico, to Ghana, to wherever, and we'll have some of the videos in here of our travels together, but it could just be road trips.
Yeah.
Taking road trips, an hour away. Being in the car with someone. What are you
For
listening
that
to for that long? Those things.
Do you strangle them?
Those things, I'm telling you, play dividends in how you interact with people and how you interact with your loved ones. So, traveling together, I believe, is
I'm your loved one.
Yes, she is my loved one. is a big thing.
Yeah.
So, planning trips together and traveling together. So, let's go over those again. So, number 1 is being honest. Number 2 is constant communication. Number 3 is plan activities in person. Number 4 is date night.
Yeah.
Number 5 is surprise each other.
Surprise.
Number 6 is plan trips with each other.
Yeah.
And number 7 is travel with each other.
Yeah.
So those are our 7 tips of a healthy relationship.
Healthy long distance relationship.
Healthy long distance relationship. I hope these do well with you. Practice them. This worked for us.
Yeah. You know, and it could be different for you. We're just sharing what helped for us. You could, mix it up. Just share with us what you've been doing in your long distance relationship. We like to know what people are doing out there who are also in long distance relationships. Share with us. Leave a comment, and we will see you in our next video.
And if you like this video, make sure you subscribe or like.